Are you making over $500,000 but don't have a clear path to scale past $1 million? If so, let's have a conversation. Would you like to join a small cohort of people who are aiming to do the same thing alongside of you? So here's how it works. Myself, my team, and a group of auditors are going to go through your business to figure out what's working, what's not, and what we need to move out of the way to create a clear path to scaling to $1 million. If you'd like to learn more, you can go to jasminestar.com/million. That's where you'll have a chance to apply. We are going to be selecting a small group of people to pilot this program, and we could not be more excited. It's jasminestar.com/million.
Do they believe that your way is in fact a better way? Have you made it easy to understand? Is it simple? Because simplicity leads to conversations and conversations lead to conversions. Let's talk about leads. Getting leads, cultivating leads, and closing those leads. Welcome to the Jasmine Star Show, where today we talk about business and marketing. When I said today, I actually mean every episode is what we're focusing on. I always like to focus my intentions on, yes, building a better business, but also becoming a better leader and a better person along the way. And I believe that better comes by way of education. And sometimes education makes me feel a little bit uncomfortable. I have to put myself in new rooms, new spaces, and with new people. But if I want change, I must change. And one of the things that I discovered, there is a podcast with Billy Jean, and I'm going to link to it in the show notes. But one of the things that he had said was so powerful, and he was talking about some really cool marketing strategies. But one of the things that he said is, in order to change, you need to change your environment. And I don't know why that simple sentence really revolutionized what I did in 2024 to get out of my space and into new spaces. I'm going to get to that in a second. But before we do, let's go back to our intention around leads. In 2025, I made the commitment to grow my leads. I needed to create and cultivate a new brand of people, a new set of people who are going to be in my orbit and who I could serve. So I have a newsletter list and it has hundreds of thousands of people on it. But as the business changes, I need to also change the focus of who I'm serving. And so, of course, anybody who's on my list, I want to continue to serve. But if I want to grow and get new leads in a different way, I have to get new leads in a different way. So I have been slowly diversifying my business for the past 2 to 2.5 years, but it's become very clear that I have a very strong direction. And I know that I want to start running to it much faster than I have before in the last 2 years. And it makes me nervous to say, but it also makes me very excited to say, because it's taken us a minute to get here. So my leads and your leads, this is where we all intersect. These are simply people who might buy from us in the future. I don't look at a lead of something or someone that I need to close immediately. In fact, I know that the longer I cultivate that relationship, the more likely they are to say yes when the right offer lands in their lap. So I have to believe that I have to earn a sale. I have to say, okay, this is going to be the thing that I believe is going to make your business better. So once somebody becomes a lead, I believe, this is my personal stance, it might not be for you, but this is what I'll tell you has worked for me very well over a decade. When somebody becomes a lead, I believe I have to dazzle them. Now, I know you might hear that word and you're like, okay, that's really silly and ridiculous. Who needs to be dazzled? Have you ever walked into a wedding reception? Have you ever walked into like a storefront at the mall during Christmas? Or have you ever gone somewhere on the 4th of July and you see a fireworks display that kind of leaves you thinking, well, this was special. That's dazzling. And the art of dazzling takes a long time. But if I focus on how might I have you as a new lead come in and be slightly, oh, well, that firework was special. That window display at Christmas was amazing. This wedding reception looks like it's going to be a fun time. When somebody becomes a new lead, I believe I have to dazzle them. I believe I have to win them over. I don't believe that anybody who becomes a lead is automatically a fan of me or likes to buy from any of the businesses that I support or that I run or that I founded. Like, it's our job and my job. I have to win them over. Essentially, I have to earn their respect. And then once I earn their respect, I have to build trust. And after I build trust, I have to make them say, yes, this is the thing that I want. So let's just take, for example, the YouTube channel. I started my YouTube channel many years ago, and then I stopped posting videos for 2 or 3 years. There was a group of people on the YouTube channel who subscribed. When I started creating new content, it didn't resonate with them. So I had to make the decision that if I want to get new people as subscribers on YouTube, well, what did I have to do? What did I have to do specifically for my leads on YouTube? Because Friends, this is exactly the same way that I look at getting new leads for a newsletter. I have to dazzle you. I have to win you over. I have to build your trust. And when the time is right, I will make an offer that you say, well, you know what? This is exactly the thing that I need. So my question to you is, in your business, how are you doing that? Well, I'm going to break it down, but I'm going to break it down by way of a back-end story to let you know that credit is due where credit is due, right? Like I started at the beginning of the episode, if you want to change, you have to change. And part of that change for me was getting in a new room around different people. And so during 2024, JD and I had conversations around creating differences in the types of trips that we were taking. We travel a lot in our lives and our business. And oftentimes I come in and say, okay, we're going to take a trip and we're going to take a trip and we're going to take a trip. But now we've decided to change what we call them. Are we taking a rest trip or are we taking a recharge trip? Because a rest trip, that's a vacation. That's where we, eat copious amounts of guacamole and we just read books and we just hang out and we just be. That's resting. A recharge is stepping away from the things that we normally do. And while it might be cool to do things and experiences, it's a recharge in that we're asking, how might we amplify what it is we're doing? How to get recalibrated? So in Q4 of last year, I just marked off 4 days in November. And I marked off those days in August. And I just said, I don't know why. I'm just going to mark these 4 days in November because I'm going to need time to recharge. I need blank space to think about the business. Well, then lo and behold, the week before November, this is the third week in November, the week before, I get a text message from a gentleman by the name of Brendon Burchard. And we are talking about something else. And he says, hey, are you free to be in Napa next week? And anytime Brendon Burchard says, are you free? The answer is always yes. Because if there's anybody who knows the art of dazzling, it's Brendon Burchard. He is so finite to attention of details and experiences, and he's so smart when it comes to marketing that I said, I have blank space on my calendar. I literally texted JD and I said, book us tickets to Napa because we're going. And anytime he'd tell JD we're going to Napa, he's like, chin, chin, baby, pull me some cab. Okay, so I knew that we were going to go there. And Brendon had said, let's go to Napa. I'm going to be getting a mastermind of people together. So all I knew was I said yes to being in Napa. I didn't know the intention. So if I don't know an intention, how could I ever meet my intention? So regardless of knowing what this mastermind was about, I said, my intention is to have a clear plan of how I'm going to strategize new lead generation. And if there is a person who I trust to really speak into the process of new lead generation, it is Brendon Burchard. As you know, my commitment on this podcast is to put you in the room with me. So what I'm about to share are the 3 B's of marketing principles by Brendon Burchard. When it comes to marketing, this is what he suggests, and this is what I focused on how I'm going to get new lead gen. Now, here's the thing. He didn't go in there, and he didn't have a mastermind on lead generation. I just said, my intention is lead generation. How might I use what I want to get and distill it through things that he's sharing and talking about? So the 3 B's of marketing principles by Brendon Burchard. When it comes to marketing, you're not selling a product or service. You're selling belief, you're selling a better way, and you're selling belonging. Belief, a better way, and belonging. Let's break them down one by one. The 3rd B is belief. Now, belief comes in 2 ways. Number 1, the audience believes something about themselves. The audience might believe I am lazy. The audience might believe I'm active. The audience might believe I'm an achiever. The audience might believe I'm a failure. They have to believe. So in order for good marketing to work, you have to know, what do they believe? And then secondly, we have to have a central belief of what we're selling. The audience has a belief about themselves, and we have to have a belief about what we're selling. So every aspect of what we do, we need to establish belief. And if people don't know what you believe, they're going to be lost. So I'm going to break this down in an example that I used when I came back from Napa, things that I immediately changed around these 3 B marketing principles. So I had a newsletter that was promoting a webinar to a live course experience called Your Biggest Launch Ever. In this newsletter, in this email, I needed to acknowledge a change of belief. So in the first paragraph of this newsletter, I had to change a belief. And so I went through and I was using Brendon's advice. And I said, I believe you can sell a $19 PDF and create a 6-figure business. That is a tenet of what I believe. And I had to change somebody else's belief because somebody's looking at that and being like, I can never make 6 figures selling a $19 PDF. I had to change that belief. But first I had to acknowledge the belief about what they believe about themselves and then challenge the belief about what I believe. I believe you can make 6 figures on a $19 PDF. I'm an example of it and I've seen other people do it. I was going to send that email anyway. But now I was looking at the 3B framework. Now, let me give you another example. In the first 5 minutes of a keynote, I have to establish a belief. So in the first paragraph of a newsletter, what do I believe or what do you believe about you? In the first 5 minutes of a keynote, I'm going to tell you I have a belief about something and I'm here to create interest, insight, or education. So I might start a keynote by saying, you might think a social media growth strategy is impossible in the era of TikTokification, but I'm here to change your mind. I'm establishing a belief. You believe it's not possible. I believe it is. And then I need to state my belief. You might not think it's possible. I think it's possible. Here's how. What are we doing? I'm changing a belief. Now, we have to establish that they believe they have a problem. And then we have to establish that they believe we have the solution. B is for belief. They believe something about themselves. And then I have to establish a belief about what I believe. Then I have to establish they have a belief around a problem. Let's go back to that newsletter example. The belief that they have a problem that they didn't actually know that they have is they didn't know that they believed, like they never believed they can sell a $19 PDF and make 6 figures of revenue. And then they have to believe that I have the solution. Well, I did it and I taught other people to do it. Cool. Now, here's the thing that you need to answer when it comes to marketing. What must they believe about themselves? If somebody doesn't believe that they have the ability to do X, to lose weight, to become a better parent, to become a better marketer, think about this in the context of your business. What do they have to believe about themselves? And then what do they have to believe about you? They have to believe that they want or struggle with X. You have to believe that your solution Y actually works. And then they have to believe, we have to ask, what do they believe about the future? Because there's going to be a group of people who open that newsletter and say, oh, I don't think I could sell a $19 PDF and make 6 figures. And then I have to say, I have the solution. And then I have to ask myself, what do they think about the future? There's going to be a group of people who read that and think, in the future, there's no way that I make 6 figures. Great. This offer isn't for you. For the people who believe, I think I have what it takes, now I'm building out a more qualified lead. That leads us to B number 2, which is a better way. Now, we need to explain this better way. The thing that you're selling or promoting, it is a better way of them doing something. Even if they haven't tried it before, or even if they have tried it, it's better than what they've done. So if you truly believe that it is the better way, then you're going to have to repeat it. And this is the key to marketing. You have to say the same thing a lot of times, many different ways. Because when you establish it as a recurring central point, I believe you can make hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars selling digital products. I believe that. I have done it. But it's not just enough for me to say, I believe it, I've done it. I have to say that this is a better way because I've taught other people to do the same thing, 6 and 7 figures of revenue off digital products. Now, then, if we say this is a better way, in order for us to show that it's a better way, we have to address what's already out there. I'm not the only person who would ever think or believe that people can use their knowledge and create a digital product of it. I'm not. But what I need to say is this is the established way. These are other ways. These are other people who do it. And that's fine and great. But this is a better way. And then I have to explain why. And that's what starts defining and redefining how our offer is different in the marketplace. So now, the more obvious your better way becomes, the more conversions you have. So for instance, if I'm saying I have a better way to lose weight and it will take you 6 months and it will take restrictive eating and you're gonna have to work out and you're gonna have to meal plan and you're not gonna have any alcohol. And people are like, that's your better way? Well, it is if you wanna have a better, stronger life. But there's also a group of people who say, I have a better way with GLP-1, right? We're talking about semaglutides, we're talking about all the other, the Ozempic options. Now, here's the thing. It doesn't mean that that's the better way. But somebody who's advertising that will say, this is a better way because it takes less time and less effort to get this similar result. Now, listen, don't come at me sideways around what's this, that, or another. I understand it. I am just literally giving an example around how you can frame a better way. Well, you have a lifestyle that's going to require a restriction. And people say, that's the better way. That's great. That's just as awesome. Then there's other people who say, this is a better way. Then there's the other people who are saying, well, paleo is the better way. Well, intermittent fasting is the better way. No problem. But the easier it is for a consumer to understand your better way, the more conversions you'll have. I'm not here to talk about what you think is a better way. I'm just saying the easier it is for them to understand the better way, the more conversions that you're going to get. So What the best marketers do is establish the old way, acknowledge the old way, celebrate the old way, and then say, this is the better way. Now we're going to get onto the third B. So the first B was belief. What do they believe about themselves? What do they believe about you? What do they believe about their solution? And what do they believe about the future? Then there is the better way, explicitly stating what the better way is, acknowledging the old way, but saying the better way is definitively different and better because, and repeating that again and again. Now we're in the third B, and that's belonging. Now, this is where this part of this podcast, this one's going to be short and sweet, but this is where it gets a little warm and fuzzy, and people are like, oh, no. I'm going to tell you, when you are selling an offer, period, you are also selling belonging. Now, I don't care if you're selling running shoes, because you know what you're selling into, right? You're selling into the belief that that person is a runner. I don't care if you're selling group coaching, because what they believe about themselves is that in that group coaching program, they were going to learn how to put their sleep training to work with their baby. Okay. So people are joining into a group mission. Even if you're selling skincare, what's the mission you're enrolling people in? Better skin, youth, turning back the clock of time. Now, you are not selling just your product or service. You're selling into a vision. So remember how we talked about, these are the 3 B's of good marketing, but I was looking at through this of the lens of good marketing for lead generation. So I had to go back and I had to define, what am I getting people involved or enrolled in? What is this group mission? What is this new belief that I need to share with a new or different group of people? Now, over time, our marketing has become bland because I hadn't clearly defined, this is the person I'm going to serve. Now, all the people in all the ways, shapes, and colors are invited to this party. But the clearer I became around who I served and what I was building in the future, I'm then able to reconfigure my marketing according to the 3 B's. And when I reconfigured the marketing to the 3 B's in terms of lead generation, now I looked at every form of lead generation. I am talking about a funnel, an opt-in, a webinar, a challenge. When I was a guest on a podcast, when I host my own podcast, every single arm of what I am doing to attract attention for my business endeavors is a form of marketing. Now my marketing has been refined through the 3 B's, and the 3 B's became a lot more effective when I know exactly who it is I'm targeting. So if you are looking to build new leads, hey, let me just save you 2.5 years of a little back and forth. Who are you targeting? What do they believe about themselves? What do they believe about you? And what do they believe about their capacity for the future? Then you're going to move into a better way. Do they believe that your way is in fact a better way? Have you made it easy to understand? Is it simple? Because simplicity leads to conversations, and conversations lead to conversions. And once they believe in that better way, how you get them to stick, how you get them to stay on, how you get them to return and buy other things in your product suite is to belong. That they're not just buying a thing, they are buying a belonging. And that has really radically transformed the way that I am acquiring leads in 2025. I'm going to be dropping another episode in the future to talk about how I've started applying this 3B framework, not just to lead cultivation, but within our funnels, within our content, and the extension of it thereafter, because there is another framework called the AMG framework, Prepare Your Hearts. That's going to be coming in a future episode if you so choose. I actually started realizing that I put a lot of time and effort into creating a very long podcast about all these detailed things. And I thought to myself, wait a minute, let me just see if it's resonating with people. I'm not here to keep the conversation going. I'm here to serve you well. So if this 3B marketing framework worked well for you, please, can you share it and tag me so that I can have a conversation with you and thank you personally and then say, okay, well, do you want more? What do you want more of? What are you struggling with your business? How do we go deeper? I'm here to cultivate relationships. Why? Because my intention is for lead cultivation. But here's the thing. If you and I start talking, you know it's my responsibility to what? Dazzle you, win you over, build trust. And it might not be an offer anytime in the near future, but at some point in the future, if I give you something irresistible, you know I showed up and I served well. So give me the opportunity to dazzle you, baby. Tag me on Instagram at Jasmine Star. Share this podcast. Leave a review. I'm here to serve and serve well. Thank you for listening to this shorty episode of The Jasmine Star Show.